What is going on, my friends? I want to thank you for stopping by my channel. You got Sturkules here, and I'm going to be showing you guys my IPL playoff, first round playoff game. I almost couldn't get that out. We went 5-2 on the season, as you can see the stats and who we're facing. Our 5-2 plus our differential, I think, put us like somewhere around 30 out of the 144 teams that joined. So I was really happy with that. I'm really happy to see how many of the the NPDL bros made it through to the playoffs. I think 9 of us, and then like 2 were also really close. I can't remember exactly how many did make it through, but a few made it and had to do a play-in match because of being kind of a wild card. And then a lot of us got in through winning the division. So at this point, almost all of the round 1 games have been played. Now I'm going to highlight, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to show what happened with all the NPDL guys round 1 matchups, see how they did. I might show a quick video, though I might not play it. I might just kind of skip turns through it and show what died when and what the differential was, how they did. Haven't figured that out yet, but I do want to highlight my NPDL bros because I love them, and I'm hoping one of us can pull the championship. A decent amount have made it through to round 2. I'm not going to spoil who yet. Don't want to do that, but let's just go ahead and hop into our matchup. So as you can see, we are playing the Seattle Sharpedos, and I believe the coach's name is Pikachu Zappy Zap, which might just be the funniest coach name I've ever heard. I absolutely love it. I feel dumb being just Sturkules now, but really cool team. Celesteela, Latios, Nidoqueen, Mienshao, Regigigas, who you don't see a whole lot, Lantern, Morpeko, and Togetic. As you can see, something cool about about how this has been done is of the 7 Mons, of the 8 Mons, 7 of them have been brought between 4 and 6 times out of their 7 matches. So I thought that was cool. A lot of spreading the love. But Togetic has not been brought, so I didn't put in a whole lot of prep for Togetic. So we'll just see. If it comes, it can be a bit of a problem because Togetic is very bulky and does have some pretty cool support options. But I kind of just prepped for the other 7. And, man, like I said, just some super scary mons. There are not many Nidoqueen switch-ins. There are not many Latios switch-ins in the world. And like a Scarf or Life Orb Mienshao, Choice Banded Mienshao is always really scary. And then Celesteela and Lantern, they're just really hard to kill. Really so is Regigigas for how bad Slow Start is. It's got some ways it can be cool. I mean, 7 kills. That was their team leader in kills, so that's kind of cool. So just wanted to look at their squad and kind of remind myself who they had. So we can just close out of that and hop into our matchup. And as you can see here, this is the squad. I'll spend a little bit more time talking about it than I did in the last video just because this is playoffs. So we're going to come back to Juju Smith-Rooster. Spoiler alert, I was hoping, not spoiler alert about the match, but on my strategy was just the plan was to win with Tapu Koko. That was the plan. Everything else was, can we whittle things down enough to where Koko can come in and win? So, Marowak's biggest job was coming in and getting up Stealth Rocks, and I actually didn't mind doing that early as my opponent's hazard removal was not that good. Really, their hazard control in general just wasn't great. Nidoqueen was their only hazard setter with both Toxic Spikes and Rocks, but that is 1 less move slot it can have for coverage. So really not great hazard removal either, but Earthquake, Knockoff, and Thunder Punch hit pretty much anything on their team it would need to, and you've seen me run pretty much this set before just because a lot of times that's good coverage. And Thunder Punch can potentially have some electric surge, power boost. Knockoff's good for item removal, but also hitting something like Latios that it can't hit with Earthquake. And then as you can see, Thunder Punch also does hit Celesteela if it comes in on an Earthquake, though we got to make that prediction. And then Stealth Rock, obviously the most important thing it can do, max HP, or pretty much max HP, and a whole lot of defense. With the thick club, obviously, we are able to get a lot of attack there. And I just realized I ran the wrong ability. I ran Rock Head without a Rock Head move. I could have been Battle Armor and not had to worry about crits. That's my problem, though. I messed that up. So we had Kronos, the Kabutops with Life Orb. You're going to see a lot of pivoting on this team. That's what I always do with this team. But Life Orb and 4 attacks. No need for Swords Dance or anything this week because Kronos is kind of just to pivot around and to break things. So Liquidation and Flip Turn are both going to hit very hard in Rain. As you can see, it's max attack, though it is a plus speed nature. And I actually can see another thing I messed up with here is that I actually didn't have enough speed to outspeed a max speed Nidoqueen outside of Rain, which was a problem because that's something we definitely want to outspeed. I guess I was just thinking Rain would be up really, I just messed up. I overlooked that, but we did have enough speed to outspeed anything on their team choice scarfed. So choice scarf Latios would have been the fastest thing on their team, and with this and rain, we would still be able to outspeed it. And both the stabs plus Nogoff just hit a ton of things. Flip turn lets us pivot around. The Zion Drizzlemson with heavy duty boots is going to bring the drizzle. Now we do only have 5 turns of rain because we're not running Damp Rock, but as you can see, Scald is going to hit most of his team pretty hard. Really didn't feel a need to run Hurricane or anything like that this week just because there was really nothing we wanted to hit with it. And a lot of times we were just going to be clicking Scald or U-turn. But we do have Roost and Defog as well to try to keep ourselves alive after taking a few hits. This is a Mon that takes physical hits really well. The 40 speed was to try to outspeed a Lantern or Celesteela that didn't have any speed. And then Defog to get rid of those annoying potential toxic spikes or rocks from Nidoqueen. We got Slaying Mantis, the Scizor, and guys, I let you down with this one. I played the whole match without Scizor having a nickname. I'm better than that. I am better than that because you know what? We're not the best battler. We don't go into every match expecting to win, but dang it, we love our nicknames. And I forgot. So it was just named Scizor the whole match. But with leftovers and Technician, you are probably, if you've watched the last video that showed a lot of these sets, you're probably rolling your eyes because U-turn, Bullet Punch, Knockoff, and Roost got ran in like at least half the matches it was in. It's just such a good set. A lot of HP, really just a little bit of attack leftovers. The 8 speed is to outspeed if Celesteela isn't running any speed. And then the special defense, because of his special threats like Latios, it could actually take its stab hits pretty nicely. Now Latios can have something like Mystical Fire, as you see on our Latios, but I'm hoping at least in the rain with that HP and Spadef, maybe we'd be able to live something. U-turn helps us pivot around, that's what we're clicking most of the time. Bullet Punch, if something gets really low after setting up, we can kind of pick it off with that, that's what Technician is for. Then Knockoff for item removal, and just a general neutral hit if I'm not sure what to click, and then Roost to get some health back. Scizor can run a lot of really fun sets. It's just with what I've brought a lot this season, that's been really helpful. So, what are you going to do? And then Khaleesi, Latios with the choice scarf, max special attack, some special defense in case we need to take any sort of special hits. And with its natural bulk, it actually is still, being choice scarfed, a decent special switch in to a lot of things if I can predict the moves right. Draco Meteor is just going to hit things really hard. Dragon Pulse, I don't have to worry about the special attack drop, but you're trading a whole lot of power, and when you start running those calcs, you realize sometimes you just got to click Draco Meteor and be able to switch into something later. Psyshock actually hits its team really well once, if Morpeko doesn't come, and then once Celesteela is gone. If those come, I have to play around that, but I do have Mystical Fire, which is weakened in Rain, but Rain won't be up all game. And then lastly, Healing Wish, which I think could be really nice. If something gets worn down a lot that I want to keep alive, I can choice scarf Healing Wish into that. And I believe Healing Wish not only gives all their health back, but I think it takes away any status conditions. So if something gets toxic, which he loves to run toxic and protect, and gets worn down, Healing Wish could be a thing for that. Then lastly, we've got Juju Smith Rooster with the Electric Seed. So this is a fun set. Like I said, a lot of Coco sets I've run have been pretty basic. Support sets or like Scarf Respects, it seems like a lot. But this is cool with Calm Mind, and Thunderbolt and Dazzling Gleam actually just hits pretty much all of his team with its dual stabs. If I can get up a Calm Mind, then I can start taking hits better. In fact, if I have 2 Calm Minds up with the max HP, I can live any hit from a Nidoqueen, even if it is Modest Life Orb, I believe, if I ran that right. So that's kind of the point of Stored Power, is because my stabs hit pretty much everything except Nidoqueen. So what that's going to do is if I get a Calm Mind or 2 up, if I've got Nidoqueen worn down, I can start killing it with Stored Power. In fact, that's something that the Electric Seed, the Electric Seed does 2 things. So first off, when I come in, it gives it a defense boost by 1 stage. So that actually is going to let it live any hit from a Mienshao. So like if Mienshao comes in and is choice scarfed and wants to click Poison Jab, that's normally something Juju Smith Rooster is not going to want to take. But being a +1 defense, I think it takes like 56 or 57% max. So that helps out a lot with that. But it also is 1+ on the stat modifier for Stored Power to do more power. So Stored Power is base 20 power psychic move. Each stat change you get adds +20. So it's a 60 base power. It's a 20 base power move Once I click Calm Mind, that's +1 special attack and defense. That makes it a 60 base power move. But with the instantaneous defense boost, that actually makes it an 80 power move. Click Calm Mind one more time, and I think that has us up to like something like 120, something around there. I could be counting that wrong. But it's something like that. Actually, in fact, I think it might be a 140 if I get 2 Calm Minds plus the defense. Either way, if I have 2 plus the defense, we kill pretty much any Nidoqueen set that comes in. So, for example, if I were to come in on Latios and say it had just Draco Meteored, I click Calm Mind, I can live any hit. Click Calm Mind again as he switches to Nidoqueen. Stored power should be able to kill, especially if I've got some Rocks chip. And then from there, it kind of just runs through his team. So hopefully... the only thing that could be really scary is if it maybe Mian Shao poison jabs it, we take the hit, and then maybe a Choice Scarf Latios comes in and drops a big Psyshock. Might be enough to take it out, but that's our plan to win this. I know I've talked a lot about this, but playoff match, I put a lot of prep into this, so I'll have a timestamp for when the battle starts. So we are hopping into the battle next. Then we're going to take a quick look at everyone else's battle from the NPDL, and then I'll kind of, if I'm able to, show what next week's matches are going to be. So match is coming up next your way. Okay, so here is our replay of our battle against Pikachu Zappy Zap. Now I am going to be pausing a little to talk over thoughts, but hopefully I don't have to do that too much. But just starting things off, you're going to see we got Lantern versus Marowak, and that's actually kind of a tough face-off for both of us, I feel like, because we're both in a position where we're taking super effective damage, but we're also dealing super effective damage. Now, if he's offensive, Scald can do most of my health, but I think I can live any Scald unless it's like Specs. And if it's like Hydro Pump or something, there's a chance I could die here if I stay in. But I don't know. I feel like I feel like this thing wants to be defensive. It's much more useful that way. With my team especially, I think it's probably physically defensive. So I'm like, I think I actually just want to click Earthquake here. And I didn't think I had to predict Celesteela coming in because I figured this might want to click Scald or try to get a Scald Burn or something. So I'm like, I'm just going to click Earthquake. Rocks would have been safer. But we see Celesteela does come in and dodge my first Earthquake. So great start. I get Toxic, and we're going to go ahead and knock off just kind of the neutral play, get rid of its item, even though Thunder Punch would do more. I'm okay with getting rid of its leftover. And as we see, he's kind of spamming leftovers here. I click Rock thinking I'm about to get Toxic, then Protect, or maybe even Leech Seed coming my way. So we do see them continually just wanting to Toxic, which means I can kind of just keep getting damage. I'm okay with Toxic damage racking up, because honestly, if you look at my team and his team, if all Pwn Meringue did all game was get up Rocks and wear Celesteela down over half its health, I am super happy with that. That's all it really needed to do. So I am going to kind of think after a while, like, I don't think he's just going to keep clicking. I say I don't know if my opponent is a he or she. I'm sorry, Pikachu Zappy Zap. I'll just say they from here, but I don't know what how many times they're actually willing to click Toxic, but I think after 3, they're probably learning I can kind of just keep whittling you down if you want to do this. So now I go Pelipper, and we do not get Toxic, but we do see Leech Seed come off. So now what I want to do, I'm like, why not just U-turn out of here? And now we do see that they are running Protect. Now, they played Noah from our league earlier on in the season, and I do remember that this particular battler did love to run Toxic and Protect on a lot of sets. So that's something for us to be thinking about. If we get behind and need to make some bigger plays, we might have to protect here and there. As we get protected here. Next turn, though, I don't think they'll protect again or switch, so I just click Scald, and we see a lot of damage with that rain damage. Now here I expect to protect, because I think I had a good chance to kill with Scald. But they're expecting me to switch, so I just kind of roosted back to full. Thought it would have been kind of cool to just click Scald there and have Celesteela gone, but that's okay. Switch in. We got Kronos in. They did not protect, so we are Toxic. That's okay. We're just going to flip turn out of here. I don't think they'll go Lantern. If they do, it's not a huge deal. And they go Mian Shao, and we get huge damage on this. So even if Mian Shao is Regenerator, them being down to 27 means that max they're getting back up to like 50? Is that math? 27? No, 60. Max they're getting back up to 60. Mian Shao's not that bulky. I will take that all day. So I can kind of freely bring in Khaleesi here, start clicking buttons. And I think I probably just go for the Draco the first time around. There's a few ways I could have went. Psyshock does look good against their team, but in case Latios came in, I don't know why it would, but I just figured let's go Draco early. We've got switches into things. Marowak is not super useful at this point, so I can kind of just keep switching it in. They're going to protect to stall out some Toxic. That's smart. I could have tried to predict that and just doubled, but kind of early. I didn't really want to predict too much yet, because if this thing just started throwing off Toxics on a prediction, I don't want to get too many things Toxic. So I'm playing a little straightforward, but right now I feel like we're ahead, so I don't mind playing really safe for a while. So I Earthquake again. I had Knockoff clicked and then changed to Earthquake. I don't know. Actually, I think that may have been enough to take out Steela. Who knows? But instead I get predicted on another Earthquake. We take the Heavy Slam easily here because it is burnt. And now we just get to freely Psyshock on anything. And Celesteela does go down. Now I do like their play to just stay in there because Celesteela is pretty much done. And if I were to click Draco on a prediction thinking Psyshock could bring something else in, then I'm at -2 and they can bring in Latios. So good play to just let that go down. We're locked into that to Psyshock, so I obviously don't want to click that. They double into Nidoqueen, so Pwnmerang just dies to Poison. We can kind of just keep bringing in Khaleesi, though, anytime anything goes down, or we can get a nice pivot. So, and that's some good damage, man. Now, because of leftovers, it is out of range of another Draco, so we got to switch here. And we see the rest. Is it Resto Chesto? It's not. So, are we going to see, is it a Sleep Talk set? It is. They get rest, unfortunately. We're going to U-turn here, and we do get a crit, which kind of stinks. I don't know if this... I think it probably would have still been in Draco range no matter what. They get the Sleep Talk Scald, no burn. Cool, cool. So that's Khaleesi's second kill. Khaleesi can kind of keep just coming in and doing things. We're going to go ahead and switch. By the way, I have Psyshock, not Psychic, remember there. So I did need to lock myself into Draco there, because a Psyshock with Lantern being physically defensive would not have killed. So I think a Poison, or who did I have in? Khaleesi. I actually don't think I thought a Poison move was coming. I think I probably thought an Ice move was coming. Scizor is especially defensive. Now we see a Fire move, so this is a physical Nidoqueen. We take this hit well. Now we are going to go ahead and click Psyshock, because if it stays in and Ice Punches, I wasn't sure if Draco would do the job, so we were just going for the safe Psyshock play. We double out because we don't want to keep clicking that on Latios. We do see it recover, which means it's not choiced, or we see it roost. Which, by the way, I feel like recover is a better play than roost, because if you roost, you can get hit by ground types because of levitate. I don't know. Anyway, they click Mystical Fire, which I had in my mind I thought I could live, but Rain's not up, so I just die. Which, honestly, I don't think I would have made a prediction here anyway. I think I would have just let Scizor die, because if you kind of see how things are getting worn down, I'm pretty much just playing for any point where I can try to win with Tapu Koko. Now, I could have went Koko and started Calm Minding here, but Nidoqueen is still decently high, and I wasn't sure of all Latios' moves yet, if it had Psyshock, or Psychic, or what its move were, so I kind of could have just tried to go for game here, but I felt like, hey, I'm ahead. Even though technically we're tied on the scoreboard, I feel like I've got a lot of damage, and I feel like I can kind of just keep coming in and doing things, so I'm Choice Scarfed. I know that they're Life Orb, so I know from here I can just kind of keep clicking Draco. Now, once again, I think Nidoqueen might be out of Draco range, so we go Pelly. They predict with the Thunder Punch, and I'm honestly very okay with that. Because, once again, Chronos isn't our way to win. It doesn't matter if Rain is limited. Knockoff would have killed Nidoqueen there, so we can easily knock off. And then the Latios is gone. From here, I'm feeling pretty good about winning, as long as I don't get Toxic stalled out, but I think I can make my way around everything. So we do see they're going to start protecting, and I believe they try to double protect here, which I can't blame them. You can't blame someone for... Oh, okay, they don't. They go ahead and just make their switch. They sack off me and Xiao. Chronos gets its second kill of the game? Yeah. Can't blame anyone for ever clicking double protect, because it's a smart thing, especially if you're trying to burn out Rain and Toxic stall, but man, it gets annoying when you're on the other side of it, and here we're going to see that a few times. So we see the protect, not surprising. I didn't feel a need to predict, though, because I'm going to be faster, and I'm taking 25 damage, so I'm still alive. They go for the double protect. Now, that made me mad, even though it's the smart play, so I was very glad about this defense drop because of that, me being salty. So, once again, I think I could have really easily just set up with Tapu Koko here, but my thought is, you know what, not everyone not many people are going to watch my YouTube channel. So why don't I just keep that Coco set as a mystery if I think Khaleesi can just come in and win. Now, since its defense is dropped, I think no matter what set, even with leftovers, I think Psyshock just kind of comes in and wins here. So they do protect, and we're going to try to click Psyshock again, and they're going to double protect and hit it. But you're not going to get out a slow start here. It doesn't matter anyway. We are scarfed. You do die. Now, that actually could have been a roll. I don't know. But just because I wasn't 100% sure how Psyshock works. I know Psyshock hits on physical defense, but I didn't know if defense drops counted enough to their defense that Psyshock would do more because of that. And I didn't think to calc it in the moment. I was just kind of like, I'm pretty sure this is going to work, which may have been dumb. But honestly, at that point, I think even if I died, then we could have calm-minded there with Coco, and then we could have just won and killed Nidoqueen. So it would have just been a 1-0 or a 2-0. But it does kill. So we're able to just pick up the other kill with Khaleesi. Khaleesi gets 4 kills. Kronos gets 2 kills. Juju Smith Rooster didn't get to touch the battlefield, which I should just be happy I won. This was a scary match. Pikachu Zappy Zap seems like a very good battler. They had a very scary team. I should just be happy to win and get through to the round of 32, I think it's going to be. That's awesome. I was just happy to make the playoffs. Really happy to get a playoff win. But at the same time, like, sometimes it's hard not to look and be like, but that Coco set was really cool and I wanted to use it. So like I said, I think I had a few opportunities throughout the game where Coco could have come in and just swept. But I didn't want to get ahead of myself and throw it. Differential doesn't matter at this point. Like, I'm just trying to win each game. So just played it safe, and sometimes that's just what you do. Sometimes you have to be aggressive and get in your win con. But this time, I didn't really feel like that was the case. I felt like I could kind of just outlast them. I don't feel like they had enough switches to some of the threats. Like I said, I was hoping Khaleesi and Kronos would wear things down enough, plus rocks. And what it came down to is they were able to just do the job, and they did it great. So next we're going to be hopping on to some of the other guys' battles. Like I said, don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but you're going to at least see some coverage of the other guys from the NPDL who made it to the IPL Open playoffs. So I'll be right back. So here we got Nutshack, a.k.a. Noah, playing his match against Byronio B. Don't know their team name, but Noah is the Peoria Razor Shells. This is the first of 4 play-in matches we had NPDL-wise. There were obviously more than that, but we're just focusing on our guys who made it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through each turn real quick and kind of just briefly talk about what's happening. So you see your leads here with Zapdos and Palosand. I know that resume button's going to get really annoying, but you see him bulking up, trying to get very up high on this. Forced to switch, it looks like, against Tapu Fini. So he's going to start Iron Defensing. Decides to switch out. Grandpa's going to get some big damage off from the body press. And it looks like Sandaconda is going to die first. Got Fini back in on Ferrothorn. We got Leech Seed and Screens kind of going. So now Tapu Fini is going to be trapped because of Goth's Shadow Tag. Hey, if you hate this, what I'm doing, by the way, it's because it was getting really, with me playing it on hyper fast, it was just getting so choppy, you could barely see anything moving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the links below to all these battles. This is just a quick talk about what happens, mainly to show how everyone did and to look at the NPDL's record. So he's going to start setting up, and you can see that special attack going down like crazy. I feel like Moonblast only has like, what, a 20% chance to drop special attack. And just almost every turn, it felt like it was dropping or something. So he is going to be able to get up to +4, but down to 0.4 special attack. +4 defense and special defense. So that stored power is going to do a lot. It is able to kill Fini. Now Pangoro comes in and is trapped. And we see Pangoro does not have Darkest Lariat, which may have been a problem here. But he's going to get the knockoff crit. I say a very undeserved crit there because Darkest Lariat should have just been the play. I'm pretty sure Pangoro gets that, right? So now Zapdos comes in, bulks up. It's going to get toxic. So here we go. We see him let Palosand die to a Drill Peck. So then we're going to see the switch to Azu here. Now Moltres is a very hard mon to kill. We're going to see that kind of coming into effect here. So a lot of switching back and forth. Like, I realize this isn't super exciting to watch. Like I said, I just want to show how everyone did. But you see Moltres putting in a lot of work. Very hard for him to kill. Don't want to take a flamethrower on much of his team. So we get Azu here. I think he is probably going to switch. As we see knockoff, go back into Zapdos. And we're going to see Zapdos die. And basically from here, if Azu can kill with Aqua Jet, it's game over. I guess they pull some doubles. Aqua Jet is going to get it down to, I think you got Moltres down to like 10% or something like that. So basically, it could have swept there, or it could have cleaned their late game. But we see it wasn't able to kill. Magnezone and Moltres are left, so that's a 2-0 against Noah. So that puts the NPDL at 0-1 so far. And Noah, great tournaments to even make it to the playoffs. You did awesome. You made us proud by a really close match. Really unfortunate about that knockoff crit. Let's hop on to the next battle, which I believe is Sorbs. So we got Cole Rocket and his Las Vegas Thunder Aces facing up against Mystic 7. And I'm pretty sure that's the name of like a very famous Pokemon Go guy. I don't know if this is the same person. Like, does he do online battling too? If so, Cole is facing up against him. Seeing their teams, a lot of threats on each side. Both looking bulky and really hard to break, but also both with some huge hitters, Melmetal, Heracross, Dragonite, things you don't want to switch into. So let's just go ahead and see who their leads are, and then you see two defensive dark types. See the Intimidate go off. So we're going to see a lot of pivoting around to start off. I'm guessing that was from a U-turn, yeah, which did quite a bit, considering that's an Alolan Persian that probably had Fluffy. So we're going to see him knock off the Choice Band on the Melmetal, which is really smart. And now Rotom Wash, one of the better Melmetal switch-ins, at least if it's clicking double Iron Bash. Now it does also have things like Thunder Punch. So now we're going to see the Pillow Swine and the Mesprit facing off against each other, and we're going to see Rocks up on the opposing side of the field, and he gets that Mesprit Toxic. But we see some damage off, and now he's going to come in and take that Icicle Crash easily with his Incineroar. We see Hercules coming in, the very terrifying, Heracross. And we see it's burned, which is a good thing when you got Guts. So now it's just does it kind of just start clicking buttons from here? It looks like he switches it out to Preserve back into the Rotom Wash against what's going to be Silvally Fairy, which is pretty cool. So Defog to get rid of those rocks, but it is going to get burnt because of that. Is this Quick Feed Jolteon? So anyway, we got Romano back in, taking pretty much any hit. Now Swampert's a great switch there, so he's going to have to keep switching. So now we got Dragonite versus a Fairy facing off, so that's an easy situation that you know you got to switch out of into your Rotom. Now you got one of the best nicknames, Wish You Would, the Jirachi, up against a Jirachi wannabe in Mesprit. Oh, that's mean. Mesprit's kind of cool. But we're going to see Knockoff is going to activate some weakness policy, as he also sets up an Iron Defense. So, scary situation to be on if you're on the other side of the field. But Shadow Ball, did that force a switch, I guess? As you can see, it's kind of hard to commentate if you're not watching it live, but I just made things move so choppy and slow. We're just kind of seeing how things go. Dragonite getting up in Dragon Dance is going to be very scary. With that Intimidate, I wonder if he Dragon Dances again. Looks like he's just going to kill, or he's going to switch in. Okay, so he's cycling to get rid of those attack boosts, but we are seeing a lot of speed boosts on this Dragonite now. So this probably does not scare it out. Okay, Flip turns out. Interesting. So we see Cole getting up very fast with his Dragonite, but that I'm sure he's very annoyed by that Intimidate taking away his attack boosts. But we do see the Silvally die. It's up to almost max speed. Now you just got to keep Dragon Dancing, hoping you can get some attack boosts here and there. But from here, we are going to see that this is going to be just enough to clean house. So what does that mean? We're going to get a 4-0 win. Means we're going to get a 4-0 or 3-0 win for Cole. Really well played to play around those Intimidates. So as we see, he's going to move on to the next round. All right, here we got our man Ball, A Ball WW. I need to figure out what that means. We just call him Ball. I think we've all asked before what his name means, but I can't remember. Just call him Ball. But anyway, here's his hyper offense team, as he's calling it. which is very, very fitting name, up against Artful Nova. So this was Ball and his California Clobbopus. I just realized I'm doing this without music in the background, so I hope this isn't just like too awful boring. Like I said, just want to highlight the boys' matches. So they're starting off with Rabambi up against Azatu. So obviously he can't click webs early, so he's just going to go into Crawdaunt, take a little bit of health, and you see a physical Zatu, which is not something you see every day. So, and then we're going to see Solar Beam. So this was just the tech, man. Like, Power Herb Solar Beam to go ahead and just knock out Crawdaunt. So now Zapdos is going to come in. Zapdos is always doing big damage, and it is going to kill the Zatu with a Brave Bird. So now it's going to be scared out from the Galvantula, but Nidoqueen is an amazing Galvantula switch in, as it really gets nothing to hit it. So he does get up his own webs, but now Ball's able to get behind a sub and start getting some health back with Black Sledge, get up his own rocks, as the Energy Ball does fade the sub, but I doubt it's going to do very big damage. Goes ahead and takes the Energy Ball, gets behind another sub to kind of start getting some damage, and we see Earth Power is going to do a lot back to that. Now he goes into Rabambi to take that Energy Ball, Heavy Duty Boots, so it's not worried about the sticky webs, and it gets up his own webs. As Diancie is going to come in. Diancie is doing Rock Polish to up its speed. That's actually a little bit scary. And it is going to kill with Earth Power. So having a Mimikyu is nice. That Disguise is going to allow him to get up Trick Room and just start overall hitting pretty hard with Shadow Claw. Even at -1, you see that damage as his opponent gets up some spikes, which is pretty big. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think he just kind of keeps spamming Shadow Claw from here as we see Kartana come in. Did that Garchomp take any health? It did. 51% health with that hit plus rock. So this thing is doing some big damage despite the attack drop. So able to get up Trick Room again as the foe gets up Tailwind with the Kartana. So some differing ideologies here. So just going to keep spamming that, what's that word? Shadow Claw, and it's going to work out. So now we got Azelf going up kind of against the rest of things here. That Calm Mind is pretty scary on the Diancie. And it is going to die, but Rabambi, can it come in and just clutch things? It's just going to click a bunch of Moonblast. And it is able to come in and kill and pick up the 1-0 for Ball. So Ball and Cole do move on to the final playoff bracket. And I think we have 64 teams now, and we got like a decent amount of guys, I'll let you know, but we're going to see Ball is going to live to go another day. NPDL is sitting at 2-2. Okay, so here we got Agency Sorbs, aka Cooper, coming in against Maketa. Sorbs in his Federal Bureau of Intelligence, making it for a play-in game. This is the second of 4 we've got NPDL-wise. We are NPDL's 0-1. If you want to watch the full replay, hopefully it should be linked and you should be able to click it and watch that below. So I'm just going to kind of click next turn here throughout the whole thing. And I know it's not fun to watch, but just to kind of show where that's at, you got Magneton versus Cinccino with the leads. Volt Switch is going to do a lot to Cinccino after that. But we're going to see knockoff onto Crobat. So we see Magneton moving first. It's Scarfed. Crobat's Choice Band is going to be knocked off. So now Jellicent's switching in. We got that switch back into Magneton. See the Para on a Thunderbolt. You see the Wakenberry. Took away some damage from that electric hit onto Jellicent. Now we got Rillaboom coming in, and this thing is an absolute monster. Super hard to kill and a lot of things to worry about. And we see that it's got Leech Seed, which is pretty cool. So he throws off some seeds, going to be able to keep getting health back. Now Heatran comes in on the Crobat, and we got Slowbro faced up as rocks are onto the field from the Heatran. So Jellicent, as the check, comes back in for Slowbro on a big future sight. And now we got Magneton and Jellicent faced up against each other again. Not a hit that a Jellicent is going to want to take. So the Jellicent does just go down from a Volt Switch, I believe. Yeah, so we got Slowbro up against Drifbloom. Drifbloom definitely something to worry about with that terrain. Back into Magneton to try to check it. And now we see Crawdaunt doing some big damage on Heatran. It's the Protect to stay alive. Now Rillaboom comes back in. That Grassy Glide would scare almost anything out into the answer of Crobat. We see Driftbloom does indeed come in and get that Grassy Seed popped with Unburden. Now it's going to start setting up. We're going to see that Gigalith is going to be able to take care of it. Sounds like there was it looks like there was a Will-O-Wisp miss, which allowed Stone Edge to kill it without having to worry about its attack being dropped. So Cinccino, with its skill link, Bullet Seed is going to do quite a bit to Slowbro. See Exca coming in and Sand. Going to be able to knock out the Cinccino, but now we got Excadrill and Rillaboom facing off. Once again, that is a Grassy Glide that not many things want to take, so back into his answer of Crobat. Thundurus comes in, coming into Magneton, and then he's back to Rillaboom. Now we got Gigalith and Rillaboom facing off, and we're going to see Crobat back in. So now we see 3 against 2. It's getting very intense here. Live, I remember, it's going to come down to, can anything take a Grassy Glide? And as we're going to see, it can take 1, but X-Scissor is not going to do enough back. I'm guessing that's a pretty bulky Rillaboom. And then Grassy Glide is going to clean things up. That is a 2-0 loss for Cooper. Like I said to Noah, Cooper, there's nothing wrong with losing a very tough tournament match. Just proud that you made it so far. That's putting the NPDL at 0-2 to start. We want to see how our next one's going to go, and I believe that's going to be Cole, the NPDL. All right, so it's looking like 7 of us made it through to the final bracket, is what they were calling it. So that's going to be, I think, 64 coaches. So 7 of 64 are NPDL. That's over 10%, which feels pretty cool. So we got some matches to look through here. As you have already seen, I was able to win my round 1 playoff match, putting us through to the round of 32, which is pretty exciting, and that's putting the NPDL at 3-2. So we got 6 other games to watch here real quick. So first up here is Regal, aka Ty, aka the NPDL's most recent champion. So let's see how he does against Unlucky Lucario. This is Regal and his Houston Hacks. We see the lead with Slowbro against Vullaby, so that's 2 things that are very hard to kill. You see Ty, aka Regal, does have his regen duo with Slowking and Torn, which is really scary. So a lot of pivoting going to happen. The knockoff Wigglytuff comes in very easily, and he's going to be able to get up his rocks. Now Registeel's going to come in and also be able to get up rocks, scaring out the Fairy type, going into a very solid water type check here. So now it's going to teleport into Mamo on the Toxic, which I guess, the Slowbro was Toxic. Now we bring in Mamo, who's just an absolute beast. Going to click Knockoff and do a massive 58% to Rotom Wash coming in, who is normally a really good Mamo check, but when you get a good read like that, it doesn't matter because Mamo's just a monster. So Rotom is going to come in on Rotom, take that Pain Split. Now we're going to get Mamo back in on Registeel as they both switch. Another knockoff, and since it might be slower, he is going to have to switch his Rotom back in, both onto rocks. Now we've got Torn up against the Registeel. Interested to see. As he's going to knock off and get rid of the Rocky Helmet, take some damage, and take some Seismic Toss damage. Good thing that Torn has Regenerator. Now it's going up against, now we got Rotom up against a terrifying Heracross with Guts up. But luckily he does have the Speedy Zarude after he lets his Rotom go down. Now he's going to double into Mamo, who can kind of just keep clicking buttons from here. Icicle Crash doing massive damage onto that Heracross. Switching in his Slowbro. His Heracross, I think, dies to probably its own burn. His Slowbro is faced off here against Gengar, so he's going to make his switch into Zarude. Zarude, Darkest Lariat, so I'm guessing he's probably Scarfed since Zarude is naturally slower than Gengar. Darkest Lariat onto a Registeel, which is cool. If it wanted to Body Press, it would, or Iron Defense, it would still be taking all that damage from Darkest Lariat. So Spectrier comes in, and we do see the Will-O-Wisp, which I think is probably a Scarf Will-O-Wisp, right? As he kills with Darkest Lariat. Unless I was wrong about it being Scarfed. But either way, he's going to be able to clean up here with Darkest Lariat, pull off a nice 4-0 win, putting the NPDL at 4-0 or 4-2, and we've got 2 coaches so far to the round of 32. Good job, Regal. Didn't doubt you for a minute. Let's hop into our next. So now we got Henrik, aka Gritexi. Am I saying that right? facing off against Razi, and both of them had some really cool sets in this matchup. Now, Henrik is the IPL Open reigning champ, so a lot of people tuning in for this, I'm sure, to see just what's going to be an amazing battle. But we trust in Henrik. He's a beast. So we're gonna see the team matchup here. See who they both start off with. Got Diantha the Gardevoir against a Morgrem. Really cool seeing a Morgrem come. Very huge fan of the Pokemon, and just cool to see the low value. Henrik is really good at making Gardevoir, that's usually a really offensive Pokemon, a great defensive support type Pokemon as well too. So as we can see, he's going to Focus Blast, probably expecting a switch, I'm guessing, as he's going to take a foul play. So then, as you see, Miltank is going to be the switch in here onto a Moonblast. Obviously, Morgrem's not going to want to stay in and take a Moonblast, so now we've switched in to the Flying Foes of Noivern and Torn. A Hurricane's going to hit, and Torn's going to become confused, because if Hurricane hits, that 30% confused chance feels more like 70%. But we'll take it here. He Hurricanes and gets a confuse again. Listen, if you're as skilled as Henrik, you can just confuse on will like that. So he's also going to taunt in case it wants to Milk Drink or set up rocks. And then we're actually going to see an Ice Punch that he's able to live. So that must be a very defensive Miltank and probably a bulky Noivern. So he's going to just kind of start roosting up as Electivire comes in. Electivire has been cool for a few teams in this tournament. So now we're going to see the Gardevoir and Tornadus facing off, and both teams still have all their Mons, as Piloswine, the bulky beast it is able to come in and take some hits. Going to be able to get up rocks too, which is very nice. Dodging a Hurricane, because that's what Piggy Boys do. And then it's able to get off a Toxic on Politoed, which is really nice. And we see that Politoed is Water Absorb. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but looks like maybe. Oh yeah, he did that because of Urshifu Rapid. Oh no, I was thinking Henrik had. Yeah, Henrik has Urshifu Rapid Strike. This thing is lying to us. So anyway, that's a good play by him, so that it can take those Rapid Strike hits, whatever it's called. It hits 3 times and always crits. Not gonna be able to hit on a Water Absorb Mon. So a lot of pivoting back and forth. Torn is able to defog the rocks off the field, but he's able to just kind of get them right back up as Politoed's going to come in. That poison damage is racking up. You see, it's Urshifu Rapid Strike. The thing lied to us. So comes in on Torn, and now a little taste of his own medicine. Unfortunately, going to get that Hurricane confusion, but he's gonna click through it. Hurts itself the first time, but I have a feeling it's going to come through the second time, and it does, as it knocks off and picks up the first kill of the game on Miltank. Now we got 2 electric type beasts facing off against each other. He's going to go ahead and switch into Urshifu Rapid Strike, which is pretty bold play in front of an electric type, even though it is Volt Absorb and he does have a ground type. So actually that's a very smart play. So yeah, now he's going to get his Zeraora back in on Tornadus. Obviously going to scare it out, as it's going to knock off, get rid of, what did it have? Oh, it's going to knock off, what? Oh, gets rid of Tornadus' heavy duty boots. Cool. Morgrem's going to come in, and it's going to rest. Since it's Prankster, rest and Sleep Talk do get priority, which is very cool. So that's something to be thinking about. Tornadus comes back in and is going to take some rocks damage since it lost its boots. Now we got Politoed and Weezing facing off, and he's going to make his switch back into his Gardevoir, which is so hard to kill, and you love to see it if you're rooting for him. Back into the huge threat that is Urshifu Rapid Strike. Amazing that he got that and Zeraora and still put together a really cool team with the points that took. Back into his Behemoth, and that's going to bring in the Ferrothorn. I'm sure they're probably going to be wanting to Hazard Stack, but nope, we're going to see Leech Seeds coming in. So we're going to see a lot of switching around to get rid of that. Just a lot of very defensive mind game type of plays here. Lots of switches. And Diantha is going to be able to keep kind of wish passing to keep things healthy. Now this Morgrem's going to come in, and we're going to see Moonblast does a ton as the Sleep Talk gets at rest again, which is kind of unfortunate. He's going to teleport back out of there as Morgrem is able to start attacking with Sleep Talk, and now it's going to wake up, rest back up, and get back up to full. So this thing is a problem, and this is a very cool set. Very cool indeed. So Diantha comes back in. It can take hits really nicely from this, bringing in the Ferrothorn, which is going to keep bringing in the Weezing. as we now see Soundwave come in, and we've got rocks up on the opponent's side of the field and spikes up on Henrik's side of the field. Seems like he's going to be okay with that as he taunts into the Ferrothorn. Takes a big gyro ball, but the Rocky Helmet is going to put some damage back. Now we've got it to be able, now it's going to be able to roost back up. This is a very defensive and very long game. A lot of thinking between each turn. I remember, which you don't blame him. Every turn matters in a battle this tough. So the Leech Seeds are going to be big. He is going to be able to get a Will-O-Wisp on the Ferrothorn, which is really nice to weaken its Gyro Ball and possibly something like a Power Whip or a Knockoff, depending what its last move is. Back into its Soundwave, and he's going to have full spikes up. Now, I don't know if he has Defog on this, but yep, he is going to defog that away, knowing he can get his rocks back up, and knowing that those spikes are not fun to deal with. So they're kind of going back and forth here. He gets another layer of spikes back up, Politoed's back in. He's going to take the Ice Beam and Pain Split. So we're seeing very defensive things going on here. And that Politoed is living on one from the poison, and it's going to go ahead and die now. What a weird way to say that. So now we got Piloswine facing off against that annoying but awesome Morgrim. Like, this Morgrim set is a very fun set. I liked it a lot. I was obviously rooting for Henrik, but I'm like, in another world where he's facing someone else, I'm rooting for this Morgrim set to pull off the win. But you got to stick with your boys, and Henrik is playing well, as you can see. If you can see the timer, they both kind of keep running low on time, as once again they're just thinking a lot, making decisions, trying to make the right play, and it's really tough to see who's gonna be able to outlast each other to end this game. Zeraora being able to get up a bulk up is going to start hitting pretty hard. It takes a foul play at +2 and is able to live. And now I think it's probably going to be able to kind of keep clicking Drain Punch and get some health back to hopefully counteract the Leech Seeds a little bit. And at this point, he is going to die, but things are weakened down enough. Now we just need to see, is he going to be able to kill things with his Gardevoir? And we do see that Focus Blast does indeed land for Henrik the Beast. And that was a long one, but man, that was really fun. Seeing the back and forth of that. So great game, Henrik. That puts the NPDL, I believe, up at 5-2, and we've got 3 guys onto the round of 32. Let's check out our next match. All right, we got Zach Hoek against his Chicago Black Hawluchas against Just Lucas. And this man has a whole Wailord, which is a pretty cool thing to see coming to this match. Looking at Zach's team, you look at everything, and it's like, how are people supposed to kill that? That is a scary team. I had to play him in the divisional thing, and I'm hoping I don't have to play him again. And I'm hoping he makes it very far, because he's a beast of a battler. So let's see how this goes. NPDL, I believe, is sitting at 5-2 right now with 3 guys onto the round of 32. I think we have 3 or 4 battles left for you. So let's go ahead and hop into this one. Once again, if you want the full experience, you are going to want to click the replay. That's going to be linked below. But we see a Colossal starting off against a big boy Wailord who's going to throw off a huge Water Spout. So we're going to see some switching back and forth. It obviously doesn't want to stand on a grass type, so we see switching. This is a good switch to a Crobat. Now we see this coming back in as Zach is able to get up his rocks. Something's going to have to take another Water Spout, and it's going to be that bulky Gothitelle who's going to start clicking Energy Ball and weakening that Water Spout, and is actually just going to kill it because it can't switch out because of Shadow Tag. I'm guessing it was probably Specs, or maybe even Scarf, I don't know. But yeah, his Crobat's going to come in, and now we've got a matchup of 2 scary things that like to Rapid Spin, and it is indeed going to get rid of the rocks, but he's going to kill it with Flare Blitz, which is a great trade-off for Zach there, as he can just get rocks up again later. As Kyurem comes in, that's very scary because of Earth Power, so he comes into his Goth. This Kyurem is now trapped, and so he's going to break the sub with Psychic, take an Ice Beam, and now I believe just keep clicking Psychic until it's able to fade that sub. But he is able to roost up back to 3/4 health, basically. Zach's going to choose to keep that alive. I don't know if that's maybe a choice Scarf, I think. So anyway, yeah, back into the Whimsicott versus this. Obviously, he's not crazy happy to take an Ice Beam, but it's worth it if it's going to be able to break that sub. And now he is able to trick the choice Scarf onto Kyurem, which is really nice. So it obviously does not want to Ice Beam into a Colossal. So Colossal is now going to be able to start clicking Body Press on things, which is pretty cool. Gets burnt into his Corviknight. And now here's where I think things get kind of long. So I'm going to talk a little less and kind of just show what's going on. We got rocks up, we got sand up, things are getting very bulky. We got Crook, who hits really hard, but Quagsire takes it because Quagsire is just a bulky boy paired with Unaware, really hard to kill. So Toxic and Scald, some status games going on, got great switches into each other, and now once again we have these rock type beasts facing off, and not really where Colossal wants to be, as it is going to die to the Sandstorm bringing Tyranitar. So now he goes back in to his Golisopod, which is always going to hit really hard. Keep forgetting Crobat's name. Is going to be able to roost back up. So now they're kind of just playing back and forth, and we do see that if Crook kills something, it does indeed have Moxie, which I'm guessing Quagsire is probably unaware for, so he's going to have to switch into a Corviknight. So from here, once again, it's mind games who can come up with the best set. Body Press is not doing as much because the Corviknight unfortunately did get burnt, and this Kyurem does have Roost, so Zach kind of just has to keep making doubles here on these Roosts, trying to make the right play. Earthquake doing a lot, and I forgot it has the Choice Scarf on it, so it doesn't have to worry about taking an Ice Beam if it's clicking Roost. But basically it's going to come down to, is he going to be able to kill things that can click Roost and that can keep click and recover? It's going to be tough. He's going to kind of keep cycling back and forth, trying to guess what's coming in. Fortunately, though, also, if they're going to keep healing themselves, they're going to have a very hard time ever killing this Corviknight, which I think could probably end up being able to stall things out, especially, I don't know if it was pressure or not. But at this point, he's able to kill the Kyurem, and now from here, it's just going to be getting himself in a situation to be able to kill this Quagsire that doesn't want to die. But Zach's able to pull it off. No surprise there. He's a beast of a battler. NPDL sitting at 6-2 for the first full round of the playoffs, and we've got, is that 4 guys through now? Me, Henrik, Regal, and Zach have all made it through so far. Well done, my man. Let's get on to the next battle. All right, so we got 3 battles left for round 1. I believe, if I'm remembering right, the NPDL is 6-2 with 4 guys through to the round of 32 so far. We got Agency Fish, aka Sfeel, and his Scarfed Sfeels. That was a tongue twister. Coming on against Sugar Gray, against a pretty scary team. Now, I do not know much about Sfeel. He's pretty new to the NPDL, but he knows some of the guys from the other league and seems like a super likable guy. One thing is for sure, this guy is a beast of a battler. We've seen some replays from his other league, and I don't see this guy losing a whole lot. So Sfeel's a beast. Also, always has like the coolest Discord icons with some sort of awesome Sfeel thing. So big fan. Excited to see what the team is able to do. So their leads are going to be Starmie versus Lantern. The water type leads. Makes for both of them switching into a fire type. You love to see it. Coming off, we got the Garchomp against the Celesteela. He uses this Garchomp really well, as he's going to preserve and go into Rotom, which is a nice check to Celesteela. Having a good check to Celesteela is always great. As we see, the Toxic is going to miss onto that Rotom Heat, which is a bummer for the opponent. Now we got 2 Dragons facing off. Are these both 102 base speed? They are. That's funny. So they're not really trying to play those mind games. Going back into the Togekiss to not have to worry about that, as Togekiss is going to switch out back into the check of Rotom Heat, which is for Celesteela, which will probably be their play almost every time. So now we got Lantern coming in, which is probably going to be Volt Absorb for that. And so we have the doubles into a Scavalier on Victini. Not a great spot for a Scavalier to be in, so you got to switch here. Sudowoodo takes a V-Create just about as well as you can, losing 42% of health, but having leftovers is really nice. So it's obviously going to want to switch out at this point into Zarude, as Tree, aka Sudowoodo, is able to get up some big rocks, which is going to be nice for chipping down things like this Victini and Celesteela duo that are cycling back in and out. So now you got Togekiss. He's going to make his switch into Sudowoodo again, and they're not going to be able to take 2 of those, but with the defense drop, a Sucker Punch is going to do some big damage, as we see 53% onto this Victini, and now Victini can't come back in on rocks, so Garchomp can go ahead and do its thing and just click Earthquake and pick up the kill. Now it's going to get up behind a sub to avoid that Toxic, and I think it's going to be able to start Swords Dancing We're going to see Zarude come in, and we're going to see Fire Fang do a whole lot of damage onto that Zarude. And it does pop its weakness policy, which is pretty scary. But since Garchomp is faster in this matchup, we're seeing that this Zarude must have either been bulky or must have been adamant or something like that. I'm guessing it was probably bulky. But we're seeing that Garchomp is faster here, so it is going to be able to just click Earthquake and kill, not have to worry about missing a Fire Fang. Nidoking comes right in on this Garchomp, so he probably knows that this is a Scarf Nidoking, so he can go right into Escavalier on this Ice Beam. He's going to take a Flamethrower and live. Did he have Oka Berry, or was he just super... Looks like he just took the hit. Man, wow, that's really impressive that he takes that hit. So I guess it's not Scarfed. So he was just feigning that it was Scarfed. So anyway, but it's going to click Knock Off and be able to get rid of Nidoking's Life Orb. Now it's not going to be hitting as hard, and Starmie can come in, start clicking some buttons. Psyshock picks up the kill on Nidoking. Hits Dracloak with an Ice Beam very hard. It tries to sub. Does not have the health left. And so we're going to see Psyshock's not going to do a whole lot to Lantern. Oh, okay, actually, decent amount, 38% chunk here. Now Celesteela is going to come in. He's just going to let that die, and I think Togekiss is able to just pull out the win here with 2 Flamethrowers. So this was a Scarf Togekiss, so as you can see. So this Togekiss is going to help Fish, aka Spheal, pick up that 3-0 win. NPDL is 7-2 so far, with 5 guys through to the round of 32, if I'm counting right. Let's hop on to those last, I think, 2 battles. Okay, so now we're seeing Colrocket and Ball play in their round 1 battles. The playing games are technically like round 0 or whatever you want to call it. I don't like the sound of that, because then it sounds like whatever they won wasn't important. They won battles against great players. We're proud of them. Looks like the NPDL, if I'm counting right, is sitting at 7-2, with 5 players having made it through so far to the round of 32. Very exciting to see. And so Cole and Ball playing their second battle of the week, essentially are going to be our last 2 battles of round 1. Then we'll be able to get on to round 2 here within a week or so. We'll hopefully have the results. But Cole and his not Portland Trailblazers, that's his old team, his Las Vegas Cinderaces, going up against Chris Magikarp. You heard it here, Chris Magikarp. So really good teams on each side. First thing you can kind of see on Chris Magikarp's team is like, wow, there's some things that are really hard to break there. Vileplume and Porygon 2 do not like to die. So let's just go ahead and see what we got. Once again, you want to see it in better graphics and see more what's happening. I'll have the links to these battles below that you'll be able to click on. I'll have them labeled whose is whose. But we see the lead of his Persian versus Rotom. Going to go ahead and just parting shot out. And as he's going to try to Volt Switch, not going to be able to do so. And as we see, Piloswines like to dodge things, and he takes, okay, he takes that. I just expected it to do more. Wow, he took that Hydro Pump really well. This must be especially defensive. Piloswine, 36% to get it Toxic, and now he dodges the Hydro Pump. That's what I was thinking of. So he's going to go ahead and get off some Stealth Rocks here, and I'm guessing at this point going to want to switch to his own Rotom Heat. As Vileplume comes in. Now Vileplume, once again, we know that's very annoying, very hard to kill. Going to Volt Switch for minimal damage. We're going to see Aromatherapy on this Vileplume, so he does not want his teammates Toxic. That's something to be thinking about that it's going to be doing. So now we got Porygon 2 coming in as Wish You Would tosses off a Wish. Going to be able to Toxic this Porygon 2, which is very nice because this thing is a bulky threat. See the switch. Iron Head's not going to do a whole lot to Rotom Wash as it is a Quad Resist, but he can kind of just he protects here to kind of gauge what he was going to do, maybe to see if he wanted to burn it with Will-O-Wisp or something like that, or if it just wanted to attack. And it's going to try to defog, so we do see it's going to be able to get rid of the rocks here, as that means that Jirachi is going to take that free turn to poison up the Rotom Wash, as Victini is going to come in, which is just a huge threat. That's really hard to switch into. But Rotom Wash, not a bad switch at all, especially when you got a Wish coming your way. So now we got Heracross coming in on the Dredagon. We still have no kills, 14 turns in. We're going to see some pretty decent damage with the knockoff to get rid of that Rocky Helmet. But unfortunately, that Rocky Helmet plus the Dragon Tail is going to do quite a bit of damage to Heracross. As we have Ord the Dragonite coming in, Battle of the Dragons. He wants to get off a substitute, which I think that's a pretty good play. depending on what Druddigon's going to do, especially if it wants to try to Toxic or Glare or get up some rocks. But it is just going to Dragon Tail, and even though that's a pretty weak move, with it being super effective, it is going to be able to break the sub. So here Cole just going to click Dragon Claw and get rid of that opposing dragon. But now Sneasel comes in, which is pretty much just as scary as Weavile when it comes to taking an Ice Shard. So he goes into his check of Alolan Persian. Things are looking pretty good for Cole at this point. But here's where it kind of starts to go south as he knocks off onto the Vileplume, which is great to get rid of its item. Its Black Sludge is gone, but he gets the Effect Spore Poison, which is a pretty big bummer. He's going to Parting Shot back into Jirachi, which seems to be able to take things really well for Vileplume as his opponent decides to cycle in to his own Mythical Beast. Not a whole lot of things are taking hits too well, but Dragonite takes an Energy Ball nicely and is going to double here, I believe. Well, I guess it's not. Victini's going to go ahead and switch out. As we see, Porygon seems to be a pretty good check to this Dragonite here as he tries to substitute, and Foul Play is able to break it. But it is good to see that it doesn't have Ice Beam. So now we're going to see Foul Play onto Piloswine. Piloswine's going to come in and get rocks back up, and Rotom is just going to defog him right away. Now we got our Pixie, Mythical Beasts, whatever you want to call them, facing back up against each other. Jirachi versus Victini. Protect to get probably some leftovers back, but also to see what he wants to click with Blue Flare. So he does switch into Dragonite here on the Energy Ball again, and now he's going to double as he'd been warned that Victini does get Glaciate in his prep, so he was ready for that. Glaciate, now we see the speed is going to be dropped, but that's not a huge deal because it was probably slower than Victini, as it was anyway. Chris Magikarp almost runs out of time, but is able to get off the Energy Ball as Cleo comes in, but this person's getting worn down, which is a bummer, needing to take hits from Toodles. What a great nickname for the Sneasel. Parting Shot again onto the incoming Odd Toad. And so now we're kind of cycling again. Rocks are here, but he's going to be able to get health back with Leech Seed. Now we got these two facing off, and Ord is going to be able to keep getting behind a sub. Now it's going to be able to Dragon Dance with that Foul Play being broken as it's able to roost almost back to full. And that's going to be nice for later, but he knew that his Dragon Claw was not going to do much, so he does elect to go ahead and switch. Now he doubles into Cleo. Cleo's getting very worn down. So is Jirachi, but Jirachi can start to Wish Pass to heal things back up. The rocks are gone again. We're getting pretty far into the battle. With only one kill, this has been a very tactical and smart battle from both coaches. As the defog is going to bring in Victini up against Ord, the Dragonite. I just feel like I have to say Ord every time because it sounds so cool. But now we are going to see the Victini pick up a kill here, as Persian is probably going to scare this Victini out with the Parting Shot again onto this Vileplume, which just does not want to die. That Icicle Crash is some good damage, though. It's going to Aromatherapy, and now he's going to choose to get up rocks on the Strength Sap, so we see that the Vileplume is faster. Now, Rotom's probably going to want to come in here and probably try to defog again, as it has been, but he's not going to be able to do that because Dragonite is going to pressure it out into Porygon 2. Now we got our shenanigans again, trying to get damage off here. Was he able to knock off the Porygon? I don't think so. So anyway, kind of back to where we're cycling through a lot of things. It's getting chipped down. And here we're going to see another very unfortunate Effect Spore, as Cole is able to flinch this Toad into what could possibly be Iron Head range, as you can see from the damage it's doing, which the guy did make a good point. This many turns into the battle, there are going to be some hacks happen, but that is two pretty big Effect Spore hacks against Cole, and Sleep is like as bad as it could get. That's just awful. So now it's just going to be able to Strength Sap back to full, and from here things are kind of feeling not great for Cole. Not to say he can't play his way back into things, but it's just going to be very tough as this core is very hard to break. Ord gets poisoned, and from here I think he kind of knows breaking Porygon 2 without Hairgrass just feels like it's probably not going to happen. So I'm kind of just going to speed through what's happening here. We got a lot of back and forth until the end. I think Cole knew for a while this one was probably going to be over. But he did everything he could to hang in. Very proud of our commish. He's a beast. Great battle. He got that first win in the playoffs and then was not able to pick up another one. But I think that puts us at 7-3 with 5 guys still through so far. Next, we're going to hop on to Balls Battle, and it's going to be the last one of the first round. Okay, so this is the last of the first battles, first round playoff battles for the IPL that I'm putting all together. I do just want to apologize now for, I feel like the quality of a lot of the recaps I've done have been a little shoddy. I was tired on a lot of those videos I did, but also just, I know clicking through them is not the best, but there just wasn't a way to play through them and the graphics show up if I was playing it too fast, and I didn't want the video to be like 2 hours long, though I don't know, maybe people would have enjoyed seeing their battle in full, so I will have all the replays linked. But this is Ball's second battle of the round. Like Cole, they both played play-in battles, won their play-in, and then had their round 1 playoff match. So this is the last one we did so far. I think we're like 7-3 as the NPDL in the playoffs, and 5 have already made it through to the round of 32, which is really cool. So we'll see if Ball can make it 6. One thing I do think I messed up on is I said Cooper Sorbs' match was one of the play-in matches. It was not. It was a regular playoff match because he won his division. So it wouldn't have made sense that he would have a playoff match. I think I may have said that, and that's just because I had my videos out of order. And so I thought I had my few play-in matches. So really the only play-in matches were Cole, Ball, and Noah. So the rest were all playoff round 1 matches. So we're going to go through this, then I'll recap everyone real quick. So let's just go ahead and do this. So seeing our leads, we see Azelf versus the Whimsicott. By the way, the guy he's playing, Vepsis, is like one of the highest rated coaches on Draft League NL, one of the mods for the IPL, and I think an IPL coach. So really good battler that Ball is playing. So you can see their leads, Whimsicott, and you can see them both doing a decent amount of damage to each other with stab moves of Psyshock and Moonblast. Azelf staying in, going to continue to keep clicking Psyshock. The Slowking Galler comes in and likely has Regenerator to try to get some of that health back. He lets his Azelf go down and bring in Crawdont and just kind of freely click knockoff on anything, which kills the Whimsicott. It's a resisted hit that kills. That's pretty wild. So now they're both down Amon, and both teams have so many threats. Like Porygon Z just hits like a truck with adaptability. Where it's got other good abilities too. Analytic. So he goes into his Zapdos here. He lets Crawdont go ahead and take the hit. So he's down 2 Mons very early. He brings in his Zapdos to revenge here, and he gets off a smart U-turn knowing that they're not going to stay in, so now he can go to his Nidoqueen, and I believe he gets up Rocks early, and I believe this is a substitute set as well. Maybe not. So does not a whole lot with Earth Power. So it seems like while a lot of Vepsis' Mons are hitting well, he went defensive route with a lot of these. Like, was this maybe an Assault Vest Porygon Z? Because taking 26% from an Earth Power is crazy. Still did a lot with Ice Beam. So does he just have to let his Nidoqueen go down? He does. So he's down 3 Mons pretty early. Seems like Vepsis was expecting very offensive Mons, so kind of went more defensive with his builds. As we can see, things not doing a whole lot on the damage they're clicking now. Can Mimikyu still get up some damage? It is able to. It Swords Danced, and then he had Adrenaline Orb, which is really cool. As you can see, he had Landorus, and I think he had another Mon on his team that had Intimidate, so he was all ready for that with the Adrenaline Orb. Really cool, but the player only did 39% at +1, which is crazy because Mimikyu is a hard hitter. So once again, this is probably a really defensive Landorus, so I think he came with some really defensive builds, knowing that Ball had been running some hyper offense, so from there we see him just kind of chipping away at things, not taking a whole lot of damage. So Rotom is down very low. It's going to die, and it's going to be down to Zapdos. Can a reverse sweep happen? Does get 44% onto the Slowking, which is some good damage. He makes the switch, and he's not able to quite kill the Lantern, so he is going to lose a 5-0. Unfortunate to see Ball go down. Great battler. He is not going to advance on through to the round of 32, but we do have 5 making it through. We have myself, we have Regal, aka Ty, we have Sfeel, the Scarfed Sfeels, we've got Henrik, his Washington Alakazams, and then who did I forget? Who else made it? Oh, and then we got Zach Hoek, and his Chicago Black Hawluchas. So we got some big brain guys making it through to the second round, and then me. So four big brain players and me. So I'll play my match here in a few days, and hopefully between the 5 of us, we can get a few through. I wouldn't be surprised. I know my person I'm playing, I'm expecting a very tough match. But I wouldn't be surprised if the other 4 guys got through, and I'm going to do everything I can to get through. We want to get as far as we can. Got to have the NPDL repping in those late rounds. I hate to just leave it on this screen of the depressing fact that lantern didn't die there. But just a real quick recap of how everyone did. I think we had 12 coaches, if I'm remembering right. If I am not remembering right, I'm sorry. But 9 made it through and got a playoff game of some sort. 7 made it through to the first round, and 5 made it through to the round of 32 out of 12. That's really good. If you look at 2 of the 3 coaches who did not make the playoffs at all, that was BB and his Minnesota Lichen Rocks, and it was Connor, aka Super Spider Pig. And they were both within, like, if they'd won one more game, they had a good chance of making it. In fact, I think BB looked, and the guy who made it ahead of him had, like, 1 differential better and not a better record. So that's how close they were. And then Pereira was the other guy from our league who didn't make it. I don't think I missed anyone else. And Pereira is pretty new to competitive, and he picked up, like, 2 wins in what's a tough tournament. So I'm really proud of how the league has done as a whole. So support us 5 who made it through. Hopefully we can do some work. I'm very, very confident in the 4 guys ahead of me, like I said, to do some work. So hopefully they'll do that, and I'm going to do my best to win. At this point, I'm just repeating myself. This was the round 1, the playoff round 1 recap for the NPDL. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully you did enjoy. If so, leave a like, subscribe if you would, and get hyped in the comments. I'm going to be trying to cover everyone's matches in round 2. And who knows, maybe with 5 I might be able to do everyone's match. We'll just see. So guys, anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm going to hop on out of here. Look forward to next week's video. Peace.